see who shows up. It's cold in my house. Let's see who else shows up. This floor is horribly cold. Put on some socks. Let's see who's first. I have a sneaking suspicion I know who it's going to be because the same guys are always first. No, different person this time. What's up? I love knives. It's cold in my house. I don't know what. You just sitting around trolling the tube of views. You were. You're the only one here. Currently, it's just me and you. Putting on some socks. Mark's here. Jeremy Russell. See, those are the people. Jeremy's usually one of the first ones. It's cold in here. I'm wearing my cold steel beanie. Cold steel knives. Yeah, I know it's backwards for you guys. I think. I can't remember. Is it backwards for you guys or is it mirrored? Because it's backwards for me. It's time to trim my mustache. Every time I eat a sandwich, I swallow half my upper lip. It's... What are you doing? Drinking coffee and honking about... Oh, thinking about sea monkeys. I left windows open in the house downstairs. It's 42 degrees outside right now. Which means it's like 50 degrees in my house right now. But it's supposed to be like 81 degrees during the day today, so I'm not turning the fucking furnace on. And I'm just gonna put on more clothes. Yeah, I'm wearing polypropylenes. Is it 50 degrees in your house? It's not 24 in your house, is it? Shut the fuck up. I'm trying not to drive too many F-bombs in this. I guarantee it's not 50 degrees in the house because Mom hates it as cold in the house as we always did. Dad was the one that kept it freezing in the house. I just put on more clothes. I've turned into my father. So guys, what's happening? I had a bad phone call yesterday, so I'm not allowed to return to work. The state of California is no longer going to pay me. Guess what we don't have in San Diego County? We don't have eviction protection, so if I don't pay my mortgage, they can boot me. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I had it backwards. Yeah, so basically I'm not allowed to go back to work, but I'm not gonna get paid. How are you from Ohio and wear Steelers gear? You mean wear Steelers gear, Jeremy? Yeah, I'm gonna call you out on that. No, I'm from an area of Ohio that's close enough to Pennsylvania that you could be either. And to tell you the truth, what team does Ohio have that you would want to root for anyway? The Browns. Oh, I mean the Ravens. The Browns aren't even the Browns anymore. The Browns are the Ravens. The new Browns, they're an expansion team. And then you got Cincinnati. Come on. Come on. Cincinnati, I don't care how well they're doing. Who roots for Cincinnati? That's silly. Cincinnati is a city that is bad enough. Cincinnati International Airport isn't even in Cincinnati. It's not even in Ohio. It's in Kentucky. That's how bad Cincinnati is. They couldn't even put Cincinnati Airport in Cincinnati. They had to put it across the river in a different state. And I'm not lying. Go look it up. It's a true fact. Cincinnati and Toledo. The only reason to drive into those two cities is to drive out the other side because you've got somewhere else to be. Sorry, had something on my mustache. If my sister is still here, she can verify these facts. It's like being in Mansfield. Who goes to Mansfield unless you're trying to get to Butler? It's the only reason to drive to Mansfield is to go west to Butler. And news for you, there's nothing in Butler either. See, what I'm saying is there's no reason to go to Butler, so therefore there's no reason to go to Mansfield. We won and lost at the same time. Hey, we got Toledo. What were we thinking? Who was that? Richard Fan. I know too much about Cincinnati, a city that no one cares about. I will say that their skyline is attractive if you happen to be driving to Kentucky at night. Just like I said, the only reason to drive to Cincinnati is to get on the other side. Yeah, Skyline Chili. Skyline Chili spaghetti is actually pretty good. I'm gonna have to order some cans of Skyline Chili. It's not chili, it's spaghetti sauce. But it actually is pretty good. I like Skyline Chili on hot dogs. I do like a Skyline Chili dog with sliced pickled jalapenos. So back to what I was saying, guys, this is the last of the disability checks, and I'm still not allowed to go to work. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in the process of converting the business, but I don't foresee a contract for that till May. So on the plus side, I did squirrel away a bunch of money. I spent some, I'm not gonna lie, I spent a little bit of money that we had coming in. And I'm not gonna complain too much because I know a lot of people have it a lot rougher than I do right now. The nice thing is we haven't had to pay our mortgage for 2 months because we refinanced. So we had a 2-month layoff. So I did manage to squirrel away a bunch of money and I get my royalty check. Hopefully, I already did that. Why am I getting notifications? Cancel. Sorry, I had a notification pop up on my screen. I can get my royalty check like this week for the sea snakes. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm not gonna sweat it too much because I do know that business is coming with that DVBE. I just have to get it submitted and the certification in. So if we have to dip into savings for a while, then we have to dip into savings for a while. That's just all there is to it because I'm not allowed to go back to work. This is horrible. That's my exact thoughts on all of this. So what's everybody else doing? Now I'm almost too warm. It's a weird, I'm in that weird area where like the sweatshirt's too much. You got the Rona. I had a friend here that caught it not long ago. So, yeah, and I've got an HOA meeting tomorrow, so that I got to prep for that. So, guys, I was going to say before I got the call yesterday from the employee development department. What's up, Mr. Morgan? Mr. Morgan. I was going to say that I was going to put Sharpening on hiatus, and I actually emailed a couple people saying, look, I got so much stuff I've got to do with this paperwork stuff. I'm going to have to, once I get into this whole, and I was telling people I'm not going to take on any more Sharpening. I do believe I have changed my mind on that, and I will reach out to those people and go, you know what? I actually will find the time to make your knives sharp for you. I did just sharpen. I like these. Have you ever seen these Leverettos? I know I ask that every time I have one of them come in. I really need to get one of these. I like the fact that these, unlike the push button switchblades, you don't have to use your Quillian as the lock. Your actual button is the lock as well. Your lever. This is one of those ATCs, I believe. AKC by Dill DeShives. And these are in D2. These are nice. Why are there 9 people here and only 2 likes? I don't ever figure that. Oh, I hit my finger with it. So I think tomorrow there'll be 2 videos because one of them I'm going to pick the winner. Oh, no, I have to wait on something. I have one, okay. So I have one member, one of the paying members that had an issue and their membership got dropped. And so I'm waiting for him to get, he had a fraud claim, so he had to cancel his card. I'm waiting for him to get his card back so that I can actually make sure he's entered into the drawing. I could always just add him in because it's not his fault, but I was going to wait and see if he had his membership fixed. I think that's the plan. I'm probably just going to add him in, even though he's waiting on a new card. So I am going to be giving away that stonefish, and we'll see how that goes. How's the new arcade? That thing is great. I didn't play it last night, but I did just 100%, no joke, complete geek. I plugged it in and I put it on the shelf to see how it would look if I had a shelf with some of that stuff, because I have a keychain that is a coin slot, and when you push it, it lights up, from the same company. New Wave Toys and Replicate, they did a great job. And I did not realize it until after. You had to be, what's turnaround on sharpening right now? Well, I've only got 2 knives here, so it would be quick. Sharpening would be quick. As long as, I mean, you got to take into consideration, like I said, I am doing this conversion. So I'd say it's about my typical 1-2 week turnaround, depending on what's going on. I still am chauffeuring the kid around to skating and things like that because my wife is working, which that's a blessing. And I mean, it's going to be tight, but there's still money coming in. I am retired. I'm medically retired from the Navy. I still get a retirement check and I get my VA disability. So, you know, hey, what's up, Spitfire? The one that I would like to see happen is I could do some refinishing. If you guys have got anything you want refinished, say you've got a knife that's scratched, I can refinish a knife, and I can just go to the shop because, like I said, all I have is time right now. Yeah, I have to take the sweatshirt off. Hang on a second, guys. I cut my hair. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I did not go get my hair cut. I cut my own hair, and I'm getting not too bad at it. I don't know if it was the shirt or if this beanie is incredibly warm. Old what? Old, are you calling me old or getting old? What are you talking about? Not cutting the beard. My wife doesn't care. She doesn't care. Honestly, she doesn't care. She wanted me to shave it for a long time. I shaved it one time while we were in Japan. I had to shave it. And she's like, oh, you should have kept the beard. I was like, make up your mind. You cannot decide. You just couldn't decide which you like, beard or no beard. I definitely don't look right without a beard. I look like I'm 12. No joke, I look like I'm 12. Right? I mean, do you remember when Dad shaved the first time? I don't know if my sister remembers this. So my dad was a diesel mechanic for 20 years, and the shop closed. Well, the shop didn't close, but the shop basically got sold out, and they got rid of all the guys that had any seniority. And so my dad got let go. He got laid off permanently. And so he became a sheriff's deputy. Well, he had to shave to become a sheriff's deputy. Dad went through a time like this too. There was a good period of time where there was no income. I definitely remember that. There was no income. My mother's income was the only income. My dad wasn't making anything. I don't think he even got disability benefit, or not disability, but unemployment benefits for that time. I don't think they even offered it to him. Ohio was weird. They were like, you don't have a job? Suck it up, buttercup. So there was a period of time my dad was out of work, and then he became a sheriff's deputy, and he had to shave. That's the story I was trying to get to. My father had a beard like this for the entire time I was a child. Like, he would let it grow for like 2 years, and then he'd trim it, and he would let it grow for like 2 years, and he'd trim it. And I mean, he looked like a Hell's Angel. He looked like me. But he had to shave his beard. And he came to pick me up from school. I was in high school when this happened. I was like a freshman in high school. He came to pick me up. I didn't recognize him. I didn't either. I didn't recognize him. I was like, God, what the what did you do? Why did you shave? He's like, get in the car, stupid. Get in the car, dummy. I ain't got time for this. And so I, but then like he had to shave for the next 20 years. So I, honestly, the one thing like people are like, why do you have that big bushy mustache? I have not had chapped lips once since I grew this mustache. Not once. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have not had chapped lips once. I'll be out in the wind all day and not get chapped lips. It protects your face. And it's like sunscreen. I don't have to put sunscreen on my face, on this part of my face. I will say that when I did shave, you could see that this part of my face was definitely a different color than the rest of my face. So it was, we went through a rough time. I'm sure that everything's going to work out. The business venture thing that I'm working on is going to be okay. Oh, full30.com, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. I would love it if all of you would go to Full30, not just because I want more subscribers on that platform. I'm going to put up exclusive content on full30.com, but if you go to the Full30 forums, they're setting me up a merch store, and I'm gonna put a link to the merch site in the videos once it goes live, but they are basically making merchandise for me. Hats, beanies with my logo, the crossed swords, crazy sharp, shirts, hats, all that stuff. Like they're like, yeah, we'll set you up in a merch store. We'll get that stuff on order. The swag should be coming. Orders over $75 get free shipping. I can give a 10%. I think I can give a 10% discount code for merch. And I'm like, wow, YouTube doesn't do that. Freeze that soup, they wouldn't. My sister made some gorgeous, several different types of soup here in the last couple months. And my brother-in-law and mother just didn't even eat it. So, Jojo Jeep. Blade, not blood. I already have my blood. So Jojo here, through the comments, asked me if I would like an S90V blade for a 940. Now, you guys know I don't like the S30 blade that's in my 940. So, of course, I said, yes, I would love that. So he's sending me a blade and thumb studs. If I don't like the thumb studs, the nice thing is my blade, I can take the thumb studs off of it and swap them out. So you were saying that they're a little larger. We'll see how I like them. But yeah, he's sending me an S90V blade for my 940. Jojo, just to remember we were talking yesterday, like I don't know how to take the heat, and I told you that even when it's hot, the temperature drops because I am technically, like I'm far enough out of town and far enough away from the ocean that I start hitting the edge of the desert. It's 50 degrees in my house. I just took a sweatshirt off. Now I'm cold. The sweatshirt's too much. The polypropylene's not enough. There's no happy medium. The sweatshirt by itself was not enough. So I think I'm just gonna have to. No, I don't. I like the aluminum. I like the aluminum beat up scales that I've got. Sweet. I have tie. I don't want tie. I like the aluminum. That's one of the things I like about the 940 is it's such a. Hey, Alex. What's going on? The thing I like about the aluminum scales for the 940, yeah, hot, cold, hot, cold. It'll be 81 degrees today, but it'll be 41 degrees tonight. I left some windows open. It's 50 degrees in my house right now. And I could turn the furnace on. I was doing some paperwork in my office. I got up at 5 to start working on, hang on a second, Mark, I will answer that question. I got up and I was working on some of that paperwork for the application that I have to fill out. And so I have a little ceramic heater in my office. So it was warm up there. I came down here. I was like, God, it's still freezing. And I realized that I'd left the bedroom, or the one patio window open when I was trying to get some air through. But I don't want to run the furnace because if I run the furnace, it's going to be ungodly hot later because it's going to be 81 degrees, which means that it's already warm in the house and the sun starts hitting it. It'll be 90 in the house. So that is the nice thing about it here. So Mark, full30.com. Full30.com is it's a competitor to YouTube. However, they own their own infrastructure. So all the videos that I've wanted to do here that I'm restricted, firearms content, things like that, I can do that on Full 30 with no repercussion. They have a big freedom of speech banner. It talks about it. We talked about it in the, there is an app where all the producers, the channel content producers and the CEO, we all talk. I have a direct line. I talk to the owner of the company all the time. There is a forums that I'm in on now, and I've been answering questions and putting up pictures and things like that. And so I'm putting up a lot of the same content. It's same name. You go to full30.com and look for Crazy Sharp. If you can't find it, I will try to see if I can put a link. I'll ask the guys if I have a link, if I can get a link to my channel and put it below to also follow me there. Because there is content that I've done that got taken down. I no longer have it because YouTube is weird about, like, they say, okay, we're not gonna retroactively do anything, and they change their policies, but then they go ahead and they take down videos that don't meet the policy, even though they were produced well before the new policy change. And so to mitigate that, I know what I can and can't do on YouTube. The content that I can't do here, I'll do on Full 30. I can say whatever I want. I don't have to censor myself. And I can say those things. I can do those videos on Full 30. I'm gonna do some pew-pew content and some ammunition content and things like that. But then there's also going to be a merch store attached to my channel. So all of my logo, which is the Crazy Sharp, you know, when you watch my videos, if you look, there's a little watermark in the bottom, and it's two katana swords that are crossed. That's what all my merch will have, that logo where it says Crazy Sharp, established 2018, cross swords. All of that's going to be on all this merch, like beanies and shirts, and it's just stuff that you guys can order if you want. And then I get a portion of it, and you know, we split the profits the three ways: the channel, the guys that set the merch store up, the guys that are making the shirts, and me. It gets all split that way. So it just made sense. And when they offered me a chance to have a channel, and I get ad revenue from there as well. So, but I don't think that there's not mid-roll ads in those videos. So I don't know how that's gonna work, and I don't know all of that. But I definitely, if you guys have a hard time finding the channel, shoot me an email, and I will try to, well, I can't say shoot me an email. I would get so many emails. No, go ahead, shoot me an email. I'll just do it that way at first, but what I will do is I'll start putting my full30.com channel link in the bottom as soon as I can. So, no, it's not like Parler. See, Parler, the problem with Parler was Parler got put on Amazon's servers, and Amazon shut them down because they were relying on another company's servers. We don't have, Full 30 doesn't do that. Full 30 is more like Gab. Gab has its own infrastructure. Full 30, unlike, it does not use Google's server system. So there's like, you don't have to worry about, oh, I violated this, and then Google's gonna shut down that thing like they did with Parler. So they have their own infrastructure. They have their own set of servers. And this is why it is a slow process, and it's not as finished or as refined or anything like YouTube was or is. It's because it's new and they've built their own infrastructure. And so it's not great yet, but it's getting there. And the whole thing is, like I said, most of the producers have access to the CEO to talk about, like, hey, this isn't working. I can't do this. Why does this happen? How come my videos aren't popping up in how come my videos look like I shot them on a old VHS camera? Why is it not porting at 1080p? Or I've got a whole bunch of videos that I tried to upload and it stopped, and they're saved as draft, and I can't do anything with them. I can't delete them. All those things. We have direct access to the devs and the CEO to figure all these things out. So it's really nice because basically I'm on the ground floor of a new platform. there's not a lot of there's not a lot of dedicated content creators there. I think there's like 35 of us in the creators thread on the Slack app that we use to communicate. But there's a lot of other people that have YouTube channels. Hickok 45 is there. There's a bunch of the big firearms channels that have started porting their content over there and started their own channels. So, you know, I was a weapons guy in the military. I love guns. Like I said, I'll drop into the to the group chat and see if there's a way I can see how I can get my channel link so that I can start putting it in videos. Yeah, I was gonna say Forgotten Weapons, Range TV, Student of the Gun. Who else is there? Dark Corner, I think Dark Corner Gunworks. There's a bunch of people there. And so, yeah, Gun Jesus is there, which is Forgotten Weapons for you guys that don't follow gun channels. There's a lot of really cool content, and there's some knife forums and things like that on the Full 30 forums. I think you can register on the Full 30 forums and not even have to go to the video channels. So if that's something you guys want to look at, I'm on the forums. You just got to look for Crazy Sharp. That's my username. And it's just, it's Crazy Sharp, all one word. There's no spaces. It's capital CRAZY, capital SHARP, I believe, is how that channel is set. I know that's what it is on the forums. That's my username on the forums. So. But like I said, if you can't find it, let me know and we'll try and figure it out. And I'm gonna get a link saved in the description of the videos so that you can say, follow me as well on Full 30. And it's not that I want to double up my content. I just want to have, do I ever use a utility knife? Yeah, when I'm at work, I had a utility knife that they gave me, but I made that sea snake, which is a utility knife. But they're garbage blades. Henry Clark, I got your email, Henry. What is this? I would much rather have a quality knife that I can resharpen because okay, so disposable makes more waste. Disposable winds up costing you more in the long run because you're having to buy blades. I've bought utility blades. A pack of 100 utility blades starts to add up when you figure that they're not great blades and you're gonna go through several at any given time. We may do a longer live feed. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning. So, this sounds like a really expensive project from their end. Really, they already have the infrastructure set up because apparently, from what I understand, the people that own it already had infrastructure set. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Bradfords. They don't fit my hand well. I've got big hands, and so a lot of those Bradfords, the small Bradfords, I'm trying to think of which one it is. I've had several Hinderers come in, but the problem is you only see them on the channel is if, the only time you see knives on the channel is if the person that's sending it to me allows me to do a video, which means that I have to carry it and I have to use it. And a lot of people I did a video about BGM. You guys got to slow down. I can't answer all the questions at once. It's like, it gets to where, that's what I was saying, like there's a sweet spot for how many people start asking questions. Fuck, now I forget what we were talking about. Let me go back and find. Oh, Hinderers. Okay, so Hinderers, I had a Hinderer and I got fleeced when I bought it because I bought it on the secondary market because at the time you could only get them when they were available and you had to be in the military. I was in the military. You had to be like first responder military, but there weren't any available. I found one on the forums and I bought it for a lot of money. I think it was right around 800 that I paid for it, but I really wanted one because everyone raved about it and I got it. and it was a non-flipping flipper. Now, I did talk to Rick at a couple shows, and he has completely changed how he makes those knives. And they are a lot better. I really like the Hinderer slippies, the slip joints. Hang on a second, I gotta go in the bedroom and grab something. Yeah, I've done so many videos about that too. But I don't have a knife in my pocket. I gotta go in the bedroom. Oh, my wife's awake. So anyway, I don't have to be quiet. My wife's awake. You're not sleeping. So what I was saying was, Hinderers have definitely improved, and they're quality knives. Even the one I had was really well made. It just did not flip. It just was really stiff, and no matter what you did, it's still doing well. It is actually, so you guys know that the Sea Snake went up on Blade HQ only a few days ago, like a week ago. It's sold out. It's sold out on Blade HQ. It's sold out twice on Amazon. It's sold out on Knife Center and his bag. It's sold out at White Mountain Knives. So if that's any indication, that means it's going well. So no, it is stressful knowing that I'm not allowed to go back to work, but the state of California is not going to pay me. Oh, guys, tomorrow, the video of just got a stonefish. Holy cow. I know they're still out there. I've got to get this boxed up. I started to box it up and realized I didn't have the address where this is going because this has to go off for sheath. And I have 2 or 3 knives going to go off for sheath. I knew they were still available. I just didn't know how readily available they were. I know it didn't sell anywhere near as well as I had hoped, which is sad because it's a really, really good knife. It's really sad that it did not do well. I have one that's going to Jeff Kirkman, the CEO of Ready Man Group, but I'm getting his logo put on it. So I have to work on that this week as well because I just want to do something for him. Amazon has like 10 left. Well, that's the second or third time that they have completely depleted all the ones they have on Amazon. I did a license. I licensed that design to them. I get a portion of every sale. I don't think it was that because this is not that big of a fixed blade, really, when you look at it. Compared to what I've got in my pocket as a folding knife, they are not that dissimilar in size, really, when you look at it, when you consider what normally is the difference between a fixed blade. It's maybe an inch. I think that the factor on that was I wanted it done a specific way, and they wanted to do it a specific way, and I think we kind of met in the middle. But what happened was it was the price. Everybody likes a fixed blade, but no one likes a $300 fixed blade. At that point, if you're buying a production fixed blade, $300 is pricey. Now, granted, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have my production sea snake, or stonefish, I mean, and it's incredible, and I'm missing a lot of comments here. Let's see, let's go back. I know that, let me see. Tenant Wright is pretty good. I know that BGM, okay, so I did a video about BGM. He did a regrind on a knife for a friend of mine, and it came out great. Nico, as a matter of fact, had a knife reground by him as well as a hollow. He does great work, and the knives that I've seen a couple people that own them, and they're great. I don't necessarily, he uses ABEL, and it's just a steel it's a steel I really don't like. I just don't like the edge it takes. And for a knife like that, for some of the knives that he makes, like an outdoors knife, I don't think it's a great steel. I know that it's a good steel if you're looking for a lot of things at a lower price, but it's still, for me, it's just not a steel I really like. I like something with a little more bite. It has a tendency to feel slick. It is sharp, but it just doesn't feel slick. And it's all just a me thing. I just don't like that steel. Somebody commented something here. Did I ever use the Drift DLC? The drift, I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about the knife? The drift? I don't know what I don't know what we're talking about. Elaborate on that, please. I'm interested to see how well Bark River sells. The drift? I've never used the drift. Nico sent me. I had a drift that Nico had. I just couldn't carry it because pod clip was so long. Van Axe blade, yeah. Interested to see how well Bark River stuff sells. It sells really well. I've got a rash on my stomach. I need to make a doctor's appointment. I've had this rash on my stomach for a long time, and I can't seem to get rid of it. Yeah, it's just not a steel I like. I don't think that it's. I don't think it's what would be. It wouldn't be what I would want in a knife. Any small makers that make really good folders? No, I don't know any U.S. makers that make really good folders, except for the new Striders that are coming out, but those are made by Medford. Medford, and let's see, Heretic, Microtech, Olamic. I mean, there's not a lot of companies, but the thing is, by the time you get looking at those knives, they're also really expensive. Where are you at that it's that ridiculous? Because a lot of times fixed blades have completely different rules. Like I can carry this knife, as long as it's open carry, I can carry any size fixed blade I want. So, Long Island, oh, fucking New York, okay. That's not even a state, that's a communist regime. Let's see. What's everybody? This is a good one. We've got a lot of interaction. I'm happy we're getting a lot of interaction on this. The one I did, the YouTube video or the live feed I did yesterday, did not go well. It was too dull. What are we doing? Jim Motley? Okay, wait, I gotta find, like, Jim started his. Cut myself pretty bad and it got all nasty because the blade was too dull. Oh. Knife laws. I don't understand knife laws. That's like saying that, like, wrench laws. I look at a knife no different than I look at a hammer or a wrench. It's a tool. And I've made that, I will make this distinction again. The difference between a tool and a weapon. A tool has multiple uses. I can use a hammer as a pry bar. I can use a hammer to drive stuff. I can use a hammer to break things free. But I can also take said hammer and hurt someone. A weapon is something that has one use. Because I got news for you. Pistol is a very poorly designed hammer. So once that pistol's out of ammunition, it has no other purpose. I have had a hard time from people like, oh my God, you have that in public. And I was like, I'm not breaking any laws. I have a knife in my pocket. What's the big deal? Like I was somewhere. I was at a food court when you were still allowed to go places before they decided that we gotta lock the country down. I was at a food court and I pulled out a knife and I was cutting up some food for my kid, and I had a pocket knife, and I was cutting it up, and the lady's like, you shouldn't have that here. I'm like, that's a weapon. No, it's not. It's a tool. Obviously, I'm not hurting anyone with this, so it's not a weapon, because I guarantee you, I couldn't cut my kid's food with a weapon, because it's not a weapon, it's a tool. You tool. I still love this knife. This is that one that I got. This is the Mastiff, and since I don't have anything here that I have videos I have to shoot, but everything's already been carried and everything, and I've made my decisions about the knives that are here. So I'm carrying what I want right now, which is nice. I will tell you one of the bad things about having a knife channel, and you can ask Nick Shabazz about this because I told him the same thing. I was like, you know, here's the thing. I get so much stuff in that I have to carry, and I have to know what I'm going to do about a review, that I don't get to carry what I want, because I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of knives that I do on this channel that just are not knives that I would buy. As much as this, that Dirk Pinkerton Arroyo, which is, it's a really good knife. It's not a knife I would have bought and carried. It really isn't. It does not. Now, it is a nice knife, and the video goes up tomorrow. You guys will see it. It's up for the members now. But who said something about a clone? It's not a replica. That's a knockoff. That's one that will really, really irritate me. And people argue with, like, it's no, well, you could buy a 45 from Rock Island Arsenal and this and that. I was like, okay, here's the difference. Companies that make something off of a patent, like say Rock Island Arsenal, Wilson Combat, all those things, they still pay Browning and his family through whatever company has the holding for that patent, which means they signed a licensing agreement. It's like I make custom sea snakes. Artisan makes sea snakes, but I license that design to them. A clone or a replica or a knockoff, that maker that designed and put the work into designing that knife doesn't see a freaking penny of it. And so I would prefer if we do not talk about purchasing, because I've banned people from the channel for trying to justify why they bought a knockoff. I was like, you can't. I'm friends with enough knife makers to hear that they're like, dude, like the knockoff market, like knockoff Hinderers, knockoff Striders, knockoff Grimsmos. Everybody's like, well, if you want a real Grimsmo, it's not the guys that are going to the website that makes the knives. It's the guys that are selling those knives as a real Grimsmo on the secondary market and screwing people where they have no protection. You know what I mean? So I just, like, if you bought, I bought two so far by mistake, and I got screwed because people are like, well, how'd you get got? Well, they sent me a knife that looked like the picture, and it took a few minutes for me. I was like, that's not right. I wound up with a knockoff Strider that I destroyed, and I have a knockoff. You guys want to see what happened to the knockoff Grimsmo? Everybody's like, he's not gonna destroy that $300 knife. He wouldn't do that. Guess what, guys? I have not compiled the video yet, but David over at Hiking with a Viking, I haven't even opened it yet. So this is from Hiking with a Viking. Hasn't been opened. We'll open this live and I'll show you. Like, for the guys that are like, he's not gonna destroy that fake Grimsmo. You're kind of right. I didn't. Yeah, that was the other one, the knockoff survival knife. And it's not a horrible, horrible knife. I mean, I didn't get, so this was that fake Grimsmo. And so I let David Horstman at Hiking with a Viking shoot this with a heavy, heavy arrow. Oh, listen, pieces fell out. I wonder what that was. You can't even put it back together because the pivot has been knocked through the scale. It broke most of the screws off. I'm going to grind off that, and I'm going to grind this into dust. This is that knockoff Grimsmo. So for those guys that say, oh, he doesn't hate him that much, he's BSing. Look at this. These guys went as far as to copy the font and everything on this Norseman. And they sell it as a Norseman, under his name, under that name. They even have, there's a piece. They even have Grimsmo Norseman listed. Here, let's see. Let's see. Custom Norseman from this god-awful company in Hong Kong. So, those of you who say he doesn't hate him that much, he's just BSing. It's not ever going to work again. He shot it with some 700 grain field tips, and just he blew it apart, blew it apart. And so I'm just gonna grind that into dust. I might take the titanium and do something with the titanium. I was thinking that I could take this titanium scale and cut out a pattern for a pendant in it. So I was thinking I'd just line out. Yeah, look, see? Screw's busted off. The screw is busted off inside. There's a couple screws that are just completely stripped and have fallen out. Pieces, parts laying around in this thing. It blew it apart. But I was thinking about doing is I could take those parts and reclaim some of that titanium and cut myself out make my wife a pendant or something. You know, I'm not gonna waste it. And I was gonna like see if I could set the screw down in it in a spot and thread it so that I could like have a color pop. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't gonna completely waste it. Like, see, that would be kind of cool to like, I'll put another hole and thread it in and then just set that nice and socket that in nice and flat. And it would just be like a little pop of color in the middle of a pendant. Something I could make for my wife for, oh yeah, you can see where the arrows hit it. If you accidentally buy a knockoff, hey, you accidentally bought a knockoff. Everybody gets got sometimes. I got twice. One of the ones that really will get is the Shirogorov knockoffs. Some of those are spot on. I mean, there's been a few Shiro knockoffs that I've seen that have come in that people send me a knife and like, hey man, if you want to borrow it, do a video, and I'll have it. I'm like, man, this is nice, and then I'll get to looking at it, and I'll make some comparisons, and then I have to reach out to them, and I have to reach out to them and let them know. I was like, hey man, I hate to tell you this, but this is a fake. What's this? Anyone here ever use a fiddleback forge? I've never seen a fiddleback forge. I have seen the TRM knives. The Atom was a cool concept. The thing with TRM was that knife was really, really thin. It was really, really light, and that was a cool thing about it. But the flip side was TRM is banking on the modification ability, the Legos, like the novelty of having so many multiple scales that you can interchange and things like that. And I look at like Strider, or not Strider, but Spyderco. I think things like that, they're like the Yu-Gi-Oh trading cards of the knife world. I don't see the value in it. Like guys that collect, and if you do it, that's fine. I just don't understand it. Guys that collect like multiple of the same knife in different variations. Like I know guys that have like 8 different Spydercos. Go, oh yeah, but this one's an exclusive, and this one and this one. I was like, so? Like I own 8 Ferrum Forge knives, but I don't own any duplicates of their knives, unless you consider the fact that my father's knife that I bought for him as a retirement gift is a Ferrum Forge, and I gave that to my daughter. So technically, it's hers. It's one of those things, like, I don't understand. Like, I would not want to have 3 different colors of this. You know what I mean? I would rather take that money and have something else. I mean, that's fine if that's how you want to do it. I'm just saying, I've never understood that. That it's just a completely foreign concept to me. Like, I like this knife, but I would not buy a second one. If something happens to this knife, yeah, by all means. And if it's not available anymore, I'll find something else. I think it becomes almost a weird addiction. Like, I want to have them all. We have a friend named Luke, and I love Luke, and he's a great dude, and he's French Canadian. He lives up in San Francisco area, but Luke has got like so many of each one of the Ferrum Forge knives. Like, and I was like, Luke, come on, share the wealth, man. Other people want to get those models. Like, he's got like, I think he's got like 5 of the one model. And I was like, if that's how he wants to spend his money, that's fine. I'm just like, that's weird though. You know what I mean? That coffee is very cold. It wasn't that warm to begin with. So hang on just a moment. I have to get my vitamins. So I kind of like to start with all these exotic steels. I don't agree with what Spyderco's doing with the exotic steels because it's not that I don't think it's cool that they're doing all these exotic steels. I think they're using steels that aren't great for knives sometimes. And I think they're trying, it's that jump on the everybody wants a super steel. I don't necessarily always want a super steel. I really, really like some of the lesser steels. For the fact is, the quiet carry drift is nice. I like the quiet carry, not the drift so much as, I can't think of what the other one is that I like. But I like some of the lesser steels for specifically the fact that they're easier to maintain. Like RPM 9 is going to be great for working on a job site because I can strop it right back up on a piece of cardboard. I can cut something, strop it right back up on a piece of the waypoint. Bingo. That's exactly the one I was thinking of. So, and the other thing is, like, I have friends that, like, their knives always wind up with lock rock, and they're like, I don't understand why it's got lock rock. But I see them, they're doing this. They're like constantly fidgeting and flicking that knife. And I'm like, that's so much wear on the knife. If you hear it, like, oh, I don't understand why it's got lock rock. Well, because you've deformed either the blade or you've deformed the stop pin. And when you do that over time, what happens is you change dimensionally the gap in between your lock bar and your stop pin, and it rocks. I have a Ferrum Forge that happened to, and it was because Elliot said, he's like, I don't think that stop pin was hardened properly. It deformed really easy. We put the same size stop pin back in it, solved the problem. That's one of those things that I don't fidget with knives. I don't play with them. When I open a knife, I'm probably because I'm going to use it, or I'm going to show it to someone, or I'm demonstrating the action. Like right now, I'm using it. Yes, it needs sharpened. So that's one of those things. Like, and people that wrist flick, like, please don't wrist flick my knives. Please don't do that. They don't need it. You don't have to throw that extra force into it. As a matter of fact, Michael, have you never watched this channel? Every knife I've made, with the exception of 2 or 3, have been in 20 CV. It's one of my favorite steels. I will say, it's one of those ones that will hold an edge for a really long time, but it takes a little bit of work. Like, if you are a novice sharpener, it's going to be hard to do. Even with a fixture system, you're going to notice it's difficult. It fights you back a little bit. If you're used to sharpening stuff like S30V or S35VN or 440 or some of the softer steels, D2, 9CR. I really like 9CR. I like 9CR 18 MOV now. I didn't used to, but some of the newer ones, I think most of the time it was because I just got a crappy version of it. I'm not such a big fan of D2. I've done a few of those. This one, this is an S125V. As you can see, the handles aren't on it because this is S125V at 64. And I'm not gonna lie to you, S125V annealed is 55. Annealed, it's as hard as a lot of knives come from factories. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's 55, 56, I think, when it comes from, when you buy it, annealed. And then when you harden it, this is like 64, 65. I will burn through more belts making this knife. I'll burn through more belts just doing the initial bevel, not the finish, than I do making this entire knife. I like S35VN if it's done well. Like, I like the S35VN that We Knife Company does because it's done a good bit harder than, yeah, it's a nightmare. This stuff's a nightmare, and it leaves little splinters. S7 is another one that splinters when you're working it. and it just like, it's in your fingers, it's in your hands. I made that little wrapped handle knife, and I swear to God, I had so much metal in my hands. I had to sit with a flashlight and a hypodermic needle from one of my injections. I saved it specifically for that, and dig those little splinters, because every time I touched something, it felt like I was petting a porcupine. I have to take these. I haven't gotten to do much in S45 VN. I'm pretty impressed with a couple of things that I got to see in it. I gotta take my vitamins. I have to take one of those multivitamin packs. A lot of times vitamins don't really do that much for you, but the meds that I take cause me to leach essential vitamins. I take a multivitamin pack once a day. Yeah, it's stuck in my throat. I don't think I've experienced that unless you're talking about a different S7. S7 shock steel, no. After I do heat treat on it, once you do heat treat, it splinters. When you take it off the belt grinder, when you do it on a belt grinder, it leaves little, it doesn't powder. It just leaves little shards of metal everywhere, and you get them in your hands. And Elliot said the same thing. He's like, oh, it's a splintery bitch. Because we do all of our heat treat before we do grinding on everything, because after sharpening a couple knives in S45V, I like how it sharpens up compared to S35V. So I made this knife. Oh, that's got to get shipped today too. This is S7. So I made this in S7, and it hasn't been completely finished yet. I've got a lot of finish work left to do on it. But I just did a test wrap. I wanted to see how it would come out. And then I immediately dropped it on the ground and did the tip. So when I do the finishing. So you guys like the way this looks? I like that blade shape. Just curious how you guys feel about that. How much would I sell one of those for? I have not decided yet. The problem is, like, everybody's like, oh, well, it doesn't have a handle, so it's less work. But the fact is, I have to mill the slot. There's a slot straight through that. So I cut a slot down the middle of this on the milling machine, and that's a lengthy process. It's a pain right in the rectum. So I have not decided what I would sell one of these for yet. But I do like how it lightened it. It is extremely light. I mean, none of my knives that I make are cheap just because of the time that's in it. I would have to think about that. Reach out to me, shoot me an email. I could give you a ballpark estimate. And I mean, this is meant to be a minimalist design. So it's always just going to look like this. It's crisscrossed, so this is one solid piece, and it's not gonna look like this. I just was playing around and I was tying it because I don't want to waste this cord. This will probably come down and then just tie off and then have a loop in it. Now, folding knives require a lot of math and measurements, and everything has to be so precise. I make knives that I enjoy making, and I think that if I was making a folding knife, I think that would take a lot of the fun out of making a knife. I think this has a really clean line. I like the way it looks. It feels great. Everybody's like, oh, it's too thin, it's too thin. I was like, yeah, but it hasn't been wrapped yet, so keep that in mind. And I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty great right there. So yeah, yeah, Jim, reach out to me. We could probably figure something out. I could make a couple of these here before too long. I could probably finish this one. If you're interested in it, I could probably finish this one up as soon as I get the dimensions and everything off of it and measured. The S7, just keep in mind, S7 doesn't, it's not great for holding edges. It's not super great, but it's shock and impact resistant. And it's relatively easy to work with. So that would translate to a kind of a price savings. Yeah, and it's not even that. It's just that it doesn't seem like fun. Now, I will tell you, I'm thinking about changing how this lanyard is attached. There may be a couple holes and then the slot and then a couple holes, kind of mimicking what I saw on a Chavez fixed blade that I have here at the house. So this I could easily get this done and out if that's something you want to gem. So just email me. It's gunmonkey1974@gmail.com. Exactly. So guys, it's been an hour. My kid is up. I'm going to get off of here. I will talk to you guys later. Like I said, go to full30.com. Try to find me. If you can't find me, I'm going to start getting a link and put it in the videos below. Okay? Guys, love you all. Leave a like on your way out if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Later.